أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا أنفقوا من طيبات ما كسبتم ومما أخرجنا لكم من الأرض ولا تيمموا الخبيث منه تنفقون ولستم بآخذيه إلا أن تغمضوا فيه واعلموا أن الله غني حميد الشيطان يعدكم الفقر ويأمركم بالفحشاء والله يعدكم مغفرة منه وفضلا والله واسع عليم يؤتي الحكمة من يشاء ومن يؤت الحكمة فقد أوتي خيرا كثيرا وما يذكر إلا أولو الألباب صدق الله العظيم. My respected brothers and sisters, infaq fi sabilillah, giving or spending in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is one of the fundamental virtues in Islamic religion, and especially in the month of Ramadan al-Mubarak, because the month of Ramadan is the Shahr al-Muwasa, as the Prophet ﷺ said. This is the month of caring and sharing. And if you look at the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we are told that Prophet ﷺ used to get very, very generous during this month of Ramadan. Kana Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam ajwad nas. The Prophet ﷺ was very generous by nature. وأجود ما يكون في رمضان حين يلقاه جبريل عليه الصلاة والسلام. And he used to become the most generous person during the month of Ramadan when he used to have encounter with Jibreel alayhi salatu wassalam for the recitation and rehearsal of the ayat of the Qur'an. And we are told that when the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam فَإِذَا لَقِيَهُ جِبْرِيلٌ كَانَ أَجْوَدْ بِالْخَيْرِ مِنَ الرِّيحِ الْمُرْسَلَةِ. The Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam, because of his relationship or his meeting with Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam during the month of Ramadan, will become so generous that the example would be like the blowing wind. Imagine the desert, and imagine in the desert you do not have much of the impediments, much of the obstacles, not even much of the trees. So when the wind is blowing, it benefits everything which comes across it. So in the same fashion, Prophet ﷺ's generosity will not know the limits. He will help and benefit and donate and give to anybody and everybody whosoever comes his way. This is the way we the Muslims should also treat the month of Ramadan al-Mubarak. And wallahi, my brothers and sisters, we are engaged in ibadah. We are engaged in Salat al-Taraweeh. We are fasting, and there are a number of other activities which many of us are engaged during the month of Ramadan. But I can tell you, maybe none of those ibadat, with the exception of Siyam, would come even closer to spending in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If it is done with proper sincerity, with proper sense of iman in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and hope that he is going to accept and forgive me for that, that person, the person who spends in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in such a fashion, could get more sawab than the ubad, than the zuhad. You know the famous incident when Sayyidina Yahya alayhi salatu wassalam was doing Salat al-Tahajjud one time, and a person with white beard, with white soiled clothes, he came and started asking questions from Sayyidina Yahya alayhi salatu wassalam. Yahya alayhi salatu wassalam answered one question, second question. But then the person kept on having more and more questions from within the discussion. And finally when Sayyidina Yahya alayhi salatu wassalam looked at the time, and the time is getting closer to the dawn time, which is Salat al-Fajr, he figured out that this person is wasting my time in silly questions because he wants to waste my time of Tahajjud. And suddenly he asked, Anta Iblis, are you shaitan or Iblis who is wasting my time? And Iblis said, yes. And Sayyidina Yahya alayhi salatu wasalam said, Astaghfirullah, you know I am the Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know I am the son of a prophet, and I was engaged in the ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in tahajjud. and you came to test me at that time? Aren't you afraid of Anbiya, that they will figure you out and punish you? He said, no, I am not afraid of the prophets or Anbiya. He said, but I was engaged in ibadah, and I am among the Ubbad. So aren't you afraid of Ubbad, the people who devote themselves in the acts of worship? He said, no. He said, I am a Zahid. Aren't you afraid of Zohad, the people who are content with little in this dunya and are not worried about the bounties of this dunya? He said, no. Sayyidina Yahya ﷺ asked him, O Iblis, are you afraid of anybody in this world? He said, one person. The person who gives in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and suddenly goes from the lowest level of this dunya to the highest level of Jannah. That's a very dangerous person, because I am afraid that person is going to win over me. Because الشيطان يعدكم الفقر ويأمركم بالفحشاء والله يعدكم مغفرة منه وفضلا والله واسع عليم يؤتي الحكمة من يشاء ومن يؤتى الحكمة فقد أوتي خيرا كثيرا وما يذكر إلا أولو الألباب. That's where whenever a person intends to spend in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whenever a person makes the intention of sadaqah, zakat, or infaq fi sabilillah, 70 of the shayateen, they just put their minqar, they put their jaws upon his heart or her heart. And when a person prefers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala over Iblis and shaitan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's Habib alayhi salatu wasalam tells us that that person takes the money or sadaqah out of bayna lahya sab'ina shaytana, takes the money out of the 70 jazes of the shayateen and then gives it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes so happy that my servant preferred me over shaitan. And that's what the Qur'an keeps on reminding us, my brothers and sisters. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu anfiqu mimma razaqnakum min qabli an ya'tiya yawmun la bay'un fihi wa la khullatun wa la shafa'a wal kafiruna humul zalimun. O the believer, spend in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before that day come when you will go back to Him empty-handed. Your house, your money, your account, everything you own, you will leave it behind over here. None of that will go with you. You will have no intercessors with Him. You will have no friends to defend you from Him. You will have no money to astaghfirullah, bribe Him or to please Him. La bay'un fihi wa la khullatun wa la shafa'a wal kafiruna humul zalimun. And the people who will deny spending in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the ones who after receiving from hundreds and thousands from Him, and some of us millions and billions from Him, do not put in His retirement, in His account, in His bank, these are the people who are really the losers. That's where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keeps on reminding us, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu La tulhikum amwalukum wala awladukum an dhikrillah. O you the believers, your money, your property, the children you care the most about, and for whose sake you keep on saving and do not spend in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't let that love of money or love of your children and progeny take you away from the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَنْ يَفْعَلْ ذَلِكَ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْخَاسِرُونَ. Those people who will prefer their progeny and children over Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who will prefer their money and the love of money and property over the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْخَاسِرُونَ. These are the people who are truly the losers. وَأَنْفِقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاكُمْ مِنْ قَبْلِ أَنْ يَأْتِيَ يَوْمُ اللَّهِ. And then spend in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before that day when you will have nothing to spend, and each one of you will be wishing had you been able to spend in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. من قبل أن يأتي أحدكم الموت فيقول رب لولا أخرتني إلى أجل قريب فأصدق وأكن من الصالحين ولن يؤخر الله نفسا إذا جاء أجلها والله خبير بما تعملون. When that time will come, you will wish to spend in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but you will have no power. You would like to come back and do what you have not done in your life voluntarily, but that opportunity will not be given. So do it when you are ghani and you are afraid that you will become poor by means of spending in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do it when you are healthy and you are in the sense or you are looking for entertainment, spending the money on your own self and your children and family. Spend it at that time and spend it when you have got the resources. Because tomorrow that health may not be there. Tomorrow that wealth may not be there. Tomorrow you may not have even the resources. So do it when you have got the opportunity. Wallahi, my brothers and sisters, all of us we know that the professional among us, the educated and the prudent among us, they take some portion of their salary every month and put it in their retirement fund. Because they know there will be some time when their body is going to give up, when that paycheck will not be coming every month. So they want to have something saved for those difficult days. But we forget that when we are alive, we have got our grown-up children. We have got our wives, our brothers and sisters. We have got the state to come and help. We have got so many ways to get help during the retirement time. But that eternal retirement, nothing goes with us. No children, no wife, no state, no government. We go there alone. And all of us, we know if we do not have enough in that retirement fund, you can imagine what will happen. إِذَا مَاتَ ابْنُ آدَمَ إِنْقَطَعَ عَمَلُهُ إِلَّا مِنْ ثَلَاثٍ. When a person closes one's eyes, all of his action or her action, they cease to exist, except from three sources. Awwalan, first of all, sadaqah jariyah. If a person has spent some money and established a continuous charity, as long as people benefit from that charity, the thawab of that goes to the person even after the death. Second thing, ilmun yuntafa'u bihi. If the person has taught knowledge which is beneficial or useful to the people, even when he or she dies and people are benefiting from that knowledge, as long as they continue benefiting from that knowledge, the person will get the sawab in his or her qabr also. وَوَلَدٌ صَالِحٌ يَدْعُو لَهُ بِالْخَيْرِ. If a person has brought up a child, son or a daughter, trained them Islamically, taught them the Qur'an and the ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and after his or her death, that boy or that daughter raises their hand and they ask, Ya Allah, forgive him, Ya Allah, bless him, Ya Allah, give him the Jannah, that dua is also given to the person. Wallahi, sometimes my brothers and sisters, when I look at my own self and look at the people around me, I look at the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how much He has given us. Wallahi, when I compare myself even with my own brothers and sisters, my own cousins, my own friends with whom I was grown up, and look at the type of bounties which I and my family enjoys, and compare it with some of my friends, there's no comparison. From the food, to the clothes, to the sodas, to the juices. Wallahi, even when you go to a party, and you look at the number of dishes, you can just look at it and see, Ya Allah, people in Somalia are not even having enough to eat. Children are dying because of malnourishment. There's no water for them to drink. I can just go to the freezer and get whatever I am looking for. Or if something is not available in the fridge, I can just sit in my car, go to Pick and Save, and get whatever I want. These are the type of bounties we are enjoying day and night. while many of our